protecting workers' rights on the job. He would also be expected to advocate for Medicare for all, a policy blasted by Republicans as Medicare for none, saying it would nullify Medicare's benefits and deplete its resources. Sanders' agenda would almost certainly be thwarted by the newly recovered GOP majority in the House. Bob Agnew reporting.
A group of environmental and racial justice organizations filing suit against the Department of Transportation and Secretary Pete Buttigieg. The suit seeks to halt a Gulf Coast road project the group says will harm environment near historic black neighborhoods in Mississippi. Breaking news and analysis, townhall.com.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Please press button now. No, that number's bigger than the one I said.
This is the Founders Federal High School Football Scoreboard on the Sports Talk Media Network. Coming up, scores and reports from across the state and analysis from David Shelton. The Scoreboard is brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Now your host for the High School Scoreboard, Phil Kornblut.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome in to the High School Football Scoreboard across the state here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Back in our studios tonight after being away for several weeks. JP, how long has it been since we've been together here in our studios in downtown Columbia for the Scoreboard? Because I've been on the road traveling for ball games. I know you're happy to see me, and it's good to be back with you. And David Shelton will be joining us here a little bit later on from his location in the Low Country, covering a football game down there, a playoff game. So we've got basically there's two different ways to look at this. You can call tonight the third round. You can call tonight the statewide quarterfinals, or you can call it upper and lower state semifinals, whatever happens to float your boat. And we've got some finals in. We got, of course, some games that are getting close to being over. What we haven't had, surprisingly, a lot of drama tonight. Most of the games, vast majority of the games have been blowouts. Surprising, because we really thought tonight would bring us some really tight competition. And we've had a couple of championships handed out in Skeeza tonight. Neither one of these games was very competitive. So let's get to the final scores that we have in, and then we'll update scores that are of games still in progress. So in 5A tonight, two finals we have in right now are both in the lower state, and Somerville beat Sumter 7-0. And Fort Dorchester knocked off Carolina Forest 39-21. So how about that for a lower state final in 5A? Two bitter rivals, Somerville and Fort Dorchester, will meet next week. Boy, I tell you what, better go ahead and get your ticket for that one right now. That's going to be a hard ticket to get. We'll update Spartanburg and Dutch Fork and Burns Gaffney. We can tell you that Dutch Fork was creaming Spartanburg in Columbia. What was that? Well, you had a partial, PJ, on that game. You saw a in progress score. It was 56. You got to turn on your microphone. You got to turn on your microphone. Yeah, you still got to turn on your microphone. You got the right microphone? Go ahead.
It was 56-7.
I can't hear you. 56-7 in the third quarter. Why is your microphone not working? Yeah, 56-7. Dutch Fork over Spartanburg in the third quarter. Burns and Gaffney, let's get an update there. Burns and Gaffney, now you got my microphone way too loud. There you go. Burns and Gaffney, they're in the fourth quarter, and Gaffney is leading 34-28 there. So Gaffney trying to hang on at the reservation against Burns. And Dutch Fork's going to cruise on into the championship with that big lead over Spartanburg High School. All right, that's 5A. Let's go to 4A. In the upper state, Northwestern having a fantastic year and they beat Westside tonight 59-21. Northwestern, that offense, they have produced a ton of points this year. So Northwestern beat Westside 59-21. The other upper state game is Greenville and Catawba Ridge. And checking on an in-progress score there. We don't have a final yet, but we've got an in-progress in the fourth quarter. Greenville leading Catawba Ridge 41-27. Greenville over Catawba Ridge. Red Raiders over the Copperheads 41-27. In the lower state, both final now. AC Flora continues to roll, and they blew up the dream matchup for the city of Florence next week. AC Flora took care of West Florence 50-19, while South Florence knocked off James Island 52-21. So Flora, South Florence will meet next week. Again, Flora over West Florence 50-19, and South Florence beat James Island 52-21. 3A playoffs in the upper state. Clinton 49, Chapman 27. Daniel and Powdersville. See if we can get a in-progress score there. We don't have a final yet. Daniel and Powdersville looking for a score there. And we've got oh my goodness, it's a final. The streak is over. Powdersville defeats Daniel 36-35, according to what we're seeing here on Score Stream. Powdersville 36, Daniel 35. That would have to go down without question as the greatest win ever for Powdersville, which is a relatively young program. Daniel's winning streak had reached about 38, 39 in a row? 36-35 is the final we see here. Powdersville over Daniel in 3A upstate. Wow. We'll get some details on that a little bit later on. That had to be obviously a heck of a ball game. So Powdersville 36, Daniel 35, Clinton 49, Chapman 27. In the lower state, Dillon did what Dillon does, win. They beat Camden. Camden, the runner-up last year in 3A. Dillon wins it 31-14. And Beaufort defeated Gilbert tonight 31-21. So it's Dillon 31, Camden 14, and Beaufort 31, Gilbert 21. So Dillon, Beaufort meet next week, and both scored 31 points tonight. And Powdersville and Clinton will meet next week. To the 2A playoffs in the upper state, Abbeville, too much for Fairfield Central 45-14. And Saluda gets the best of Strom Thurmond 28-0. Rivalry game there between Saluda and Strom Thurmond. Coming in the upper state semis, Saluda gets it 28-0. We'll play Abbeville next week. In the lower state, Andrew Jackson has defeated Barnwell tonight 41-14. And the other game is Oceanside Collegiate and Woodland. Let me see if we have a score here. We do. And it's a fourth quarter score. And it's the Land Sharks of Oceanside Collegiate leading Woodland 59-18. Wow. All over them, 59-18. Oceanside Collegiate going to win that one and advance in the playoffs to play Andrew Jackson next week in 2A. In 1A, only final we've got in is in the lower state where Johnsonville shut out Lamar 14-0. So let's see what we can find here in terms of in progress games. We've got Cross leading Estill 28-16 in the fourth quarter. Winner there will play Johnsonville next week. So Cross up 28-16 in the fourth quarter. The upper state, we have Christ Church in the fourth quarter leading Louisville 40-7. Christ Church 40, Louisville 7. And the other upper state single A game is Wagner Sally and St. Joseph's. And I saw a score here a moment ago. Here it is. This was a halftime score, and St. Joseph's is beating Wagner Sally 35-8. St. Joseph's 35, Wagner Sally 8. That was a halftime reported score. So if that holds up, likely it will, you'll have Christ Church. If that score holds up as well, you'll have Christ Church and St. Joseph's playing in the upper state. All right, so that takes care of the 1A. And in the SCISA playoffs tonight, Hammond wins the 4A championship in style, 52-0 over Lawrence Manning. Holly Hill Academy wins the 8-man championship, 68-20. That final score over W.W. King. And I'm going to check here and see if we've got any other SCISA scores that have trickled in to the football stream here. See if we can update some of these other SCISA scores that we don't have yet. Let's see. Here we go. We got that one. We got that one. No, we got no, that was from that's older. So no, I think we are up to date. Yeah, we're up to date on our scores there for now. So we will pass along whatever other scores we get here in just a few minutes as they come in. And again, David Shelton will be joining us as well here at the bottom of the hour. What you got? Go ahead and tell me.
Can you hear me?
No, that's
Yeah. Gaffney won 34-28.
Gaffney is a winner. That's final. Gaffney wins at 34-28. So let's take a look at that. Gaffney a winner 34-28 over Burns. So Gaffney will go on to play Dutch Fork next week. Gaffney 34, Burns 28. They'll go on to play Dutch Fork next week. Dutch Fork is still got a big lead over Spartanburg and not going to blow that lead, certainly, from what it was. And so that'll be a matchup of a couple of the powers in the 5A, traditional powers teams with a lot of championships between them. Yeah, I see it now. Final Gaffney 34 and Burns 28. Good effort by Burns tonight, going over to the reservation, but coming up a little bit short against the Indians tonight, 34-28. All right, let's hit our first break here on the high school football scoreboard. And if you're just tuning in, we'll go back over the scores. We'll try and catch up with some coaches here as we move on through the program. And David Shelton, of course, when he finishes up his work down in the Low Country, about 10:30 or so, he'll be joining us tonight as well. This is the high school football scoreboard across the state right here on the Sports Talk Media Network. We're back in a moment.
Score a touchdown with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our 37 convenient locations to see if you qualify for membership. Relax with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and I've got a great gift idea that requires zero shopping, the gift of college savings. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan makes it easy. Grandparents, friends, and family can all contribute to a Future Scholar account and know that they're providing a gift that will last a lifetime. If you're looking for the perfect gift this holiday season, look no further. Learn more about the smart, easy way to save and give this holiday season at futurescholar.com.
When your day calls for some winning, why not watch your favorite football team at Dave & Buster's? We've got massive HD TVs and hundreds of the hottest new games. Sip from our chef-crafted cocktail menu with exclusive drinks such as the Strawberry Watermelon Margarita or Dangerous Waters. Cheer on the team with Cantina Nachos or wings featuring one of our 12 wings flavors. When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can watch the games and play the games. Locations in Greenville, Columbia, and Myrtle Beach.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
Life insurance isn't for you. It's for those you love the most. For a complete insurance review, call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, serving Lawrence, Clinton, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at scattle.org. Beef, it's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff program.
All right, we're back here on the high school football scoreboard. All right, now, JP, I want you to turn on your microphone and say hello to the people.
Hello.
There.
Look at that.
There you go. You just got to have all the buttons pushed down.
I didn't think that you
correctly.
wanted my voice polluting the airwaves.
No.
I
I think you have a great voice.
Look at that.
You got a future. But I want you to be heard, not mouthing things to me. So
Yeah.
all right. Let's go to Chris Deering. Chris Deering from the Prep Red Zone joining us here on the high school football scoreboard. I think he was at AC Flora. Yeah, he was at AC Flora in West Florence tonight. Good evening, Chris. You did not see a real close ball game tonight.
I did not. I thought I might see a very close one here tonight, but it was all AC Flora. The Falcons advanced to the lower state championship next week with a 50-19 victory over West Florence.
Oh, my. How good did they look tonight, AC Flora?
Well, I tell you, I think a lot of people thought coming into this game it would be a shootout, and whichever team could get a stop or two might win it. But this AC Flora defense really came to play tonight. They had 2 stops in the red zone, turned it over on downs for West Florence, and then they also recovered 2 fumbles that turned into pretty quick points by the offense. And this offense has been doing it all year. Markel Townsend had his 8th 200-yard game of the season tonight. He had 206 yards on 19 carries, finishing with 3 touchdowns. And Carew Bates, the quarterback for AC Flora, he finished 9 of 12 for 154 yards and 3 touchdowns. Just really clicking on all cylinders tonight. And to cap things off, Aiden Mosley, that's a name that I think a lot of people are going to hear a lot of in the next 2 seasons. He's only a sophomore. He plays behind Markel Townsend right now. He went 94 yards for a touchdown. That was the last score for AC Florida tonight. So just an all-around great performance by them. And, I think a lot of people in this state have been looking towards the AC Flora, South Florence showdown in the lower state. And that's what we're getting next week. And it's going to be right here at Memorial Stadium in Columbia. So that should be a good night next Friday night here.
That's a great point that you bring up. It's going to be at Memorial Stadium in Columbia. AC Flora, defending state champion. Columbia, inner city football, high school football, not known for the greatest of fan support. What kind of fan support does AC Flora get game by game?
So this is my 2nd week in a row here. And, last week they played on a Saturday because of the weather, and it did rain during that game. And obviously the night was really cold. For these kids, I'd like to see a little more people come out and support them and get in the stands. It wasn't a bad crowd. It was a good student section tonight. But I could see more fans getting in the seats next week for the showdown against South Florence. And just one thing, they won the state title 2 years ago. They didn't win it last year.
Oh, that's right. It was 2 years. Okay, who won it last year?
In 4A, it was South Point.
Okay. Gotcha. What about the matchup with South Florence? This thing just going to be will there be a lot of defense played? You talked about Florida's defense tonight, but I mean, South Florence has a absolute dynamic offense.
Yeah, they have a dynamic offense. I mean, everybody knows about Lenora Sellers. They got a bunch of skilled weapons on the outside. But I'm gonna tell you one thing, Phil. I've been watching this. I hadn't watched South Florence in person, obviously, but if you look at their scores throughout the season, nobody talks about the defense because the offense is so good. They've been holding people to 7, 14 points. Now, a lot of these games are running clocks in the second half because the offense has scored so many in the first half. And I mean, I get that. So I do think both defenses have the chance next week to get some stops. And that's going to be key, is who can, I thought tonight might be a situation where if one team got a stop and a score and then it was halftime and they got the ball first to start the second half. But it turned out not to be that way. It was just all the AC floor. And, next week I expect sort of that same type of game, though. Whoever can get a stop or two and go down and capitalize and score might take the momentum in it and might end up the winner and play for a state championship in 2 weeks.
Now, I tell you, we talk about South Florence, but West Florence, they have the Deuce Hudson kid at quarterback. They have a running back who's run for a ton of yards this year. They have a safety who might also play some wide receiver, who's excellent athlete. That's a great job.
He's in Carolina, yeah.
Yeah.
The safety and the wide receiver.
Yeah.
And the running back,
Yep.
Darren Lloyd, he was over 2,000 yards. He had 93 at the half. I don't have his total yet, but for the most part, I thought Florida did a good job on him. And one thing that might have helped a little bit on West Florence's first touchdown, it was the Deuce Hudson pass. It was a 21-yard pass. He got injured on the play, and he came back in and played, but you could tell he was hobbled a good bit. But he gutted it out, played the whole game, and just, but you could tell he was maybe a step slower than normal.
Okay, sir. Thank you as always. Great job. And we will look for you next week. If you don't eat too much turkey and sleep through to the weekend, hopefully you'll be up and at the game next week.
I'm not like our boy Lou. I'm somewhere next week, Phil. I just don't know where yet, but probably right here back at Memorial, to be perfectly honest, since it's about 7 minutes from my house. But
that's perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. You have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Chris Deering, story on the AC Flora win over West Florence. Let's go to Bruce McNeil. Won't take Bruce long to recap the scoring in this one. Wow. Somerville 7, Sumter nothing. I suffice it to say the defense is dominated.
Yeah, definitely a game of defense and really missed opportunities for the Sumter Gamecocks tonight. I spoke with the Green Waves coach, Ian Rafferty, before the game and said, what do you need to do differently this time? Because Sumter shut them out in the regular season. He said, well, we need to score. And we laughed. And I said, after the game, I said, so if I'd have told you you were going to score 7 points, do you think you would have walked out knowing you're a winner? And he said, I told you we needed to score. They got their touchdown. It came with 2 minutes left in the second quarter. It was their quarterback just broke free, 74-yard run. And he's a big kid, and just really credit him for making some great moves downfield and deked a couple of guys out of position to finish it off. And, at the time I was thinking, well, one score could win it, knowing how the defenses are playing. But when you add up the yards, Sumter unofficially about 287 yards on the ground tonight, and John Peoples unofficially 202 of that himself. But 3 turnovers, and they ended the last 3 drives of the game. Peoples fumbled at about the 3-yard line as we were getting into goal to go, and that was about late in the third quarter, actually early in the fourth. And it was a long drive that ended with nothing. And then they got intercepted on their last 2 drives, the last one on a 4th down attempt to try and salvage the game. And so a little more pressure there, but roughly 14 rushing first downs, all those yards gained. Somerville, I had roughly at about 211 total yards, but about 147 on the ground, and half of those came from that 1 touchdown run. But between the penalties and the turnovers, Sumter just not able to overcome those tonight, and they end up closing out at 11-2.
Wow. And Somerville just came up with a huge defensive effort, and was able to keep them out of the end zone. Like you said, the turnovers worked against Sumter, yet they ran the ball so well but could not score.
Yeah, just a real shocker. Peoples is just a sophomore, and he finishes this season with possibly the 8th best single season rushing total in the history of Sumter High School football, behind some guys whose careers were all college bound, and a couple of them went pro. But they'll have him back next year. It's just really disappointing. There were 25 seniors, and just the heartbreak. You know, it was set up really well to have home field all the way through, and I knew this was going to be a tough game, just knowing how it went when we played in September. So you give Somerville a lot of credit, and they're going to have to go back against probably Fort Dorchester again, right?
That's correct. Sumter did not spoil the folks in Charleston's dream matchup of Somerville and Fort D in the lower state finals next week. Hey, Bruce, great job. First year in South Carolina. You were fantastic. Thank you for calling us throughout the season. Enjoy the off season, and we'll talk to you next season.
That sounds like a good idea. Thank you so much for all the guys that you're promoting and all the hoopla that is created. Your show is a welcome reservoir on a dry Friday night.
Well, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Take care. All right. Somerville over Sumter 7-0. Fort Dorchester beat Carolina Forest 39-21. And it's gone final. Dutch Fort 63, Spartanburg 15. We'll be back after this break on the High School Scoreboard.
Are you from California, Illinois, New York, Georgia, or any of the other 39 states that charge state income tax? Does your state claim you owe them any amount of back taxes? Or have you not filed in years? Is your heart pounding because you know they're wrong or you just don't have the money? Don't fight the state income tax board alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you. The state is much more aggressive than the IRS in collecting taxes. They have the power to take your home, your car, your driver's and business licenses, even garnish your wages, freeze your bank accounts, and go after your spouse. Solve all your income tax problems permanently and keep more of your hard-earned money. Make this 100% guaranteed risk-free call right now.
800-668-2493. 800-668-2493. 800-668-2493. That's 800-668-2493.
With SRN News, I'm Tasha Stevens. Idaho police released a new timeline in the stabbing deaths of 4 students in a home near campus last Sunday. They say 2 victims attended a party, got home by 1:45 in the morning. The other 2 victims went to a bar until 1:30 and then stopped by a food truck before returning home. There were also 2 female roommates at the house who survived. They say no calls went out to police until noon. Police say the 2 women are cooperating with the investigation. A suspect has not been arrested. Police say the man who drove into a crowd of Los Angeles County Sheriff's recruits did it on purpose. LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva says the Wednesday crash was deliberate. Nicholas Gutierrez is charged with attempted murder, but has since been released while police gather evidence. 25 people were hurt, 5 critically. This is SRN News.
I've been talking about the people at Stone Interiors from the very beginning. They did the incredible granite counters, the beautiful granite tabletop in my home. Our kitchen is our focal point of our house. The countertops are just gorgeous. When I talk about a local company with tremendous ethics, great workmanship, someone who sees a project through from start to finish, I'm describing Stone Interiors. So have you thought about some granite or marble countertops? What about a backsplash in your kitchen? You want to retile that bathroom? Did you know you can actually go online to stoneinteriors.com, go through their visualizer software, and design your whole kitchen, your whole bathroom project? It is so cool. If that's not for you and you want to visit their showroom, they'd love to have you come out and visit at Stone Interiors, or they can even come to you when it's convenient. For more than 20 years, Stone Interiors has done this thing the right way. Call them 461-8950 to make an appointment, or visit them at stoneinteriors.com. That's 461-8950 or stoneinteriors.com.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
Fran Halloran here. Now listen closely to what I'm about to say. I'm a business owner, and many of you listening right now, you're business owners as well. The first rule in owning a business is this: don't waste money. I see business owners waste their marketing dollars all the time. Not me. I figured out a long time ago, 8 years ago to be exact, that spending my marketing dollars at the point was not only intentional, but extremely profitable as well. If you're a small business owner, you owe it to yourself to sit down with Kevin Cohen and ask him to create a custom marketing plan for your business. He's looking for folks just like you who believe in local to partner with him in 2022 and beyond. Trust me when I tell you, partnering with The Point works. You will see results and your marketing budget will no longer be wasted. Give Kev a call at 803-563-8558 and tell him the Money Coach sent you.
There's hundreds of fun and simple things you and your family can do to live a healthier lifestyle. Here's 20 of them. Walk to work, walk the dog, have the dog walk you, take a hike, take a bike, skate, dance, hop, jump, do the Humpty Hump, skip seconds, skip dessert, skip to my lube, don't skip breakfast, drink H2O, lower your sodium, raise the roof, shake your booty, stock up on vegetables, and don't forget to eat them. Search We Can online to find more ways you and your family can get healthy together. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the high school football scoreboard of South Carolina, across the state of South Carolina, on the Sports Talk Media Network. David Shelton will be joining us in a few minutes. He's wrapping up his work from his game tonight. We've got all the finals in now for the high school league games. Going to get back to that in just a moment. You know, most of the time when a high school coach or any coach sees our number ring, it's like, uh-oh, I don't want to take that. However, there is one exception. That's this time of the year, because coaches know if we're ringing them up, that means they're playing on Thanksgiving and practicing on the week of Thanksgiving. That means they've won tonight. They like to hear from us. And that's why we have happy coaches on this program this time of the year. Let's welcome in from Fort Dorchester, Coach Steve LaPrade. His team tonight, 39-21 over Carolina Forest. Coach, welcome in and congratulations. You want to check on the line there? I just went through all that. Check and see if he's still there with us. Hello. And let's drop the phone handle. While we're doing that, I'll recap the scores. Dutch Fork beat Spartanburg 63-15. And Gaffney beat Burns 34-28 in the upper state. In the lower states, Somerville beat Sumter 7-0. And as I mentioned, Fort Dorchester over Carolina Forest 39-21. And then in the 4A playoffs, Greenville beat Catawba Ridge 42-27. Northwestern down West Side 59-21. AC Flora over West Florence 50-19, lower state. And South Florence over James Island 52-21. Let's see if we have Coach LaPrade with us now. Coach, how are you? Welcome in.
Hey, good. How you doing, Phil?
Good. Congratulations. I know, don't know if you heard what I said earlier, but this is the one time when coaches like to hear from us because that you're a happy coach and you know you're still playing football next week.
That's right. It's nothing better than practicing on Thanksgiving Day.
There you go. That's the goal when you guys were sweating in July and August. The goal is to practice in the cold around Thanksgiving. And you got it done tonight over Carolina Forest, 39-21. What'd you like most about your team's performance tonight?
Well, I mean, it's the fifth game in a row we've had over 300 yards rushing. You know, we've obviously got a really good quarterback, and we really hadn't had to throw too much. We came out and got up, you know, we scored 3 touchdowns early and got up 30, I guess it was 32-7 or 32-zip at halftime. So, we started getting some of our studs out, people getting hurt second half, and we only scored one second half. But Carolina Forest, they're scrappy. Mark Morris does a heck of a job. He's a great football coach. So we're really glad to get the win.
Yeah, I bet. Tell us more about your quarterback, how he played, what you saw in him tonight.
Well, like I said, we scored 5 touchdowns rushing. We really didn't throw the ball but 5 times and completed 3 out of the 5. We just kind of ran the ball and didn't throw it too much. We had to control the clock and control the ball, and we really, Dalton was a very good quarterback and got some good receivers, but we really didn't have to throw the ball. We just ran the ball and ate the clock up. And like I said, we really didn't run it well. We got 3 really good running backs. We got Zion Reynolds, and of course Davion Brown had another 200-yard game. He's a junior, and then we got Ryan Campbell, who's only a freshman, who first touch tonight. I think he went 35, 40 yards for a touchdown. So we got a really good running game. Our big guys up front are doing a good job. I thought we controlled both lines of scrimmage. Carolina Forest got a great quarterback, and I think we probably had 6, 7 sacks tonight. So, I'm happy with the big guys up front.
That sounds like it. Was it something in game planning for Carolina Forest? Was it something you saw on their film in your preparation where you said, okay, our plan is going to be to run it. We think we got an advantage in the run game here?
Yeah, we just, Carolina Forest, they're not a real large team. Like I said, they got some really good athletes, and, they try to outscore you. So our game plan, kind of run the ball, control the clock, and, kind of wear them down, which I thought we did. We got off to a really good start and got 3 touchdowns. We were up 21-0, I think, first quarter. So, that was our game plan, to run the ball. And, it's, being a head coach, running that thing's a lot. Every time you throw that rascal, 2 out of the 3 things are bad, But, I don't mind running it.
I bet. All right, couple more minutes with Coach Steve LaPrade from Fort Dorchester. So, has next week's game already been sold out? Somerville, Fort D. Come on, doesn't get any better than that down there.
I know that'll be, that'll be a great game. The first time it was a really good game. And I'm sure, they kind of. In fact, last thing Coach Rafferty told me when we shook hands that I'll see you in 4 weeks. So he did it, and but it'll be good. I'm proud that 2 teams here in Dorchester, getting after it, and that'd be fun. At least somebody in Dorchester County is going to play for the state championship, so that's positive.
Absolutely. Let's see. I'm just looking at the brackets, but I can never really be sure. So, is Somerville hosting next week?
No, we will host.
You will host. Okay, that's what I mean. I never am for sure. Yeah.
We're 1 seed, and they were number 2 seed.
Okay.
So now if Sumter had won, we would have had to go to Sumter.
Gotcha.
But we will have Somerville won. Yeah.
All right. Very good. Well, hey, thank you so much for the time. It's great talking to you again. Have a great week. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Going to be a buzz around the Holy City down there all next week. Looking forward to this one. Should be a lot of fun, Coach.
That's right. It will be. It'll be a great game, and it'll be great for our community. So we're excited about it.
You might even get a visit from Billy Baker next week.
Oh, Billy's going to be there. It'll be
hot call.
Half the time on our sideline, half on theirs. So at some point, and he'll probably stop by and get him a hot dog at halftime as he changes sides, I figure. What do you think?
I have no doubt. Hey, take care. Thanks for the visit.
Right.
Talk to you again.
All right, Phil.
Take care. All right. That's Steve LaPrade, one of the best in our state. Man, he's been winning ever since he took over that program at Fort D. And I believe, David would have to correct me on this if I'm wrong. I think he was at Somerville before Fort D was formed, and he went over there. I think I want to say he was on Coach McKissick's staff way back in the day. But, man, he's made Fort Dorchester a great football program. That one, you never know. I mean, we thought there'd be a lot of close ones tonight. That one should be a classic next week. Let's go to Monty Dutton as he joins us here on the high school football scoreboard. And it was Clinton doing what they do, beating Chapman tonight. Gave up a few more points than normal, but that's a credit to Chapman. The Red Devils win it 49-27. Monty, give us the details.
Well, Chapman, I think you'd have to say that the last time Clinton played, Chapman and Clinton were in Region 3 together for many years, and Chapman handed Clinton their only regular season loss a year ago. Clinton defeated them 49-19 back in September, and Chapman won its next 7 games. And they were very well prepared, and they came into the game Friday night, obviously intent on stopping Bryson James, Clinton's do-everything player. And early in the game, Clinton threw 3 times, and quarterback Bryce Young overthrew open receivers each time. But he never missed another pass, and hit his 4 other passes for 135 yards. That pretty much opened the floodgates. James scored 4 touchdowns and rushed for 151 yards and 24 carries. But look at how much the concentration on stopping him did. Clinton's Jaden Robinson had 8 carries for 146 yards, 18.2 a carry. Jyshun Copeland had 10 for 130. Between those 3 backs, Clinton scored 7 touchdowns, and all their touchdowns. And so it was I think that, Young, who came in, who's a junior backup quarterback, who came in when Austin Copeland went down to an injury sometime back now. He's done a very effective job, and he hasn't been a weak point, and he wasn't tonight. But the Red Devils trailed. By the way, until tonight, Clinton had trailed for 14 seconds all season. They trailed 7-0 last week to BHP and returned the following kickoff 95 yards. This time, there weren't any long kickoff returns because Chapman squibbed the ball. As a matter of fact, Clinton put James, who has 3 kickoff return touchdowns, up near the line, up near where the onside kicks was going to go. So they achieved that, but they paid a big price for slowing down Bryson James. Just a little bit. And so for Chapman, their quarterback, Coleman Gray, was 12 of 17 for 197 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was intercepted once. And Clinton was down 7-0 and 14-13 after they missed an extra point. But from there, it was then 46-14 at the end of the third quarter. And Lucas Kirkendall, who missed an extra point, kicked Clinton's only field goal of the year in the fourth quarter. So between all these weeks where we've had these recitations of the Clinton quarterback being 1 for 2 for 56 yards and a touchdown, tonight there were some unlikely heroes for the Red Devils. But it'll be a year ago, Powdersville was undefeated in regular season and Clinton lost 1. This year, Powdersville has lost 1 game to Hillcrest. And it should be a great game between Clinton's stable of running backs and Thomas Williams, who is a splendid running back for Powdersville. The game will be at Powdersville, and they better go early because Clinton's going to take that stadium over if they don't, because the Red Devils are drawing a lot of fans this year.
I bet.
So
it
was another great night, the final night of the year at Wilder Stadium, and from here it's on to a try to go to the upper state championship for the first time since 2009, which is the occasion of Clinton's most recent state championship.
Monty, great job, my man. Thank you so much for the report, and we'll look for you next week from up there in I don't know that we've ever said from up in Powdersville. So we look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks as always, Phil.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, Powdersville and Clinton next week for the 3A Upper State Championship. That's got to be the best Powdersville has ever done. We'll hear from David on that in just a moment as we go to our break. David will be joining us on the other side. We'll go back over everything and get David's thoughts on what's gone on so far tonight, and then we will hit up some other coaches and hopefully be getting some other reports in from games across the state. So you stay with us here on the high school football scoreboard across the state on the Sports Talk Media Network. Back in a moment.
Founders Federal Credit Union knows your life is busy and your money is important. We are proud to offer local personalized services and convenient online services like Founders Online and the Founders app. You'll love being with us as much as we love serving you. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our 37 convenient locations to see if you qualify for membership with Founders. Relax, win with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Touchstone Energy cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through co-op connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
Hi, I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and I've got a great gift idea that requires zero shopping, the gift of college savings. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan makes it easy. Grandparents, friends, and family can all contribute to a Future Scholar account and know that they're providing a gift that will last a lifetime. If you're looking for the perfect gift this holiday season, look no further. Learn more about the smart, easy way to save and give this holiday season at futurescholar.com.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
We continue here on the high school football scoreboard on this Friday night, third round of the playoffs, statewide quarters, upper and lower state semis, however you want to break it down. Ian Garrett in just a moment, but let's bring David Shelton on to say hello since he's finished up his work. David, welcome in. What's your overall take on what you've heard across the state tonight? Mine was, when we came on the air, a little bit surprised we've seen so many blowouts tonight.
It was exactly what I was gonna say. Is that we thought these were all going to be very competitive games. I saw a blowout tonight. Dutch Fork blew out. There were a lot of blowouts. South Florence, AC Flora, Fort Dorchester. Somerville didn't blow out Sumter, but they won 7-0. And then the big story is obviously Powdersville. Getting it done, as we said on Sports Talk, they just got to stay in the game. You got against Daniel, against Dutch Fork, you gotta stay in the game and have a chance in the fourth quarter. And Powdersville jumped out into a lead, and then they went toe to toe. And they're a good team. I mean, we said all year, Daniel, Powdersville, Clinton. Those were the top teams in the upper state, and two of them are going to be playing.
Yeah, you nailed it. Let's welcome in Ian Guerin from the Prep Red Zone from down in the Grand Strand area where he covers teams, but he was over to watch Carolina Forest and Fort D. We talked to Coach LaPrade a few minutes ago, Ian, and basically he said they just lined up. Their plan was to run the football at Carolina Forest, and they did so successfully tonight.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've got one of the best quarterbacks in the state, Dalton Osborne. And, I know he missed some time with the injury and all that, but he only threw 5 passes tonight. And it's because they did. They lined up and they just ran the ball over and over. Davion Brown ended up with like 225.
Zion Reynolds ended up with 110, 115, somewhere in that neighborhood. They brought in freshman Ryan Campbell. He ran for 45 and a touchdown as well. I mean, everybody in the building knew what they were going to do tonight, and Carolina Forest is going to stop it. I mean, even when they'd get a little bit of penetration and looked like they had Zion Reynolds or Davion Brown wrapped up in the backfield, those guys would just break the tackle. They bounce the outside, and they take off for 7-8 yards. It felt like every single time. Fort D never had a third and long. They really only had a handful of second and longs, and it's because they were running the ball so effectively. Early in series, they were getting basically just running downhill. It's kind of what Carolina Forest has been doing to people the last 4 weeks. I mean, they jump out on you, they muscle you off the ball, and next thing you know, they got 45, 50 points. Tonight it was the reverse. I think Fort D took their foot off the gas considerably in the second half, and that's really the only reason why it was a 39-21 game.
How do you sum up the Carolina Forest season to make it this far, but to come up short of the ultimate goal?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I wrote about for my gamer that I just filed for the paper was that, they caught lightning in a bottle the last month. But when you're speaking about this team, they have struggled with Sumter. They've struggled with Dutch Fork, obviously, everybody has. And they've struggled with Fort Dorchester, come playoff time. This is a team that is close to kind of getting into that upper tier. I put Dutch Fork in their own special category, but they're close to being in that upper tier. But until they can consistently put the guys in the trenches to handle that muscle, they're going to kind of still be that also played type of team.
Well, we thank you for joining us throughout the season. And if you hit up a game next week, give us a call. Otherwise, we'll see you down at the Touchstone Energy Bowl practices and games in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I will be in the mountains next week, hopefully with no cell phone service. You will not hear from me. But Phil, if you don't mind me sharing something real quick.
Yeah.
And, look, you guys are tremendous for high school football in this state and what you do. But I think it's really important that we share one of those really positive things that nobody's going to write about. Tonight after the game, Carolina Forest kids are huddled up. They're crying. They're hugging. They're saying goodbyes and things like that. Davion Brown takes off his helmet and his hair wrap and walks up to as many Carolina Forest kids as he can, shakes their hand, and hugs them. I wanted people to hear about that. I thought that was one of those really special moments from one of the top junior running backs in the state. His teammates are off celebrating. He stops what he's doing, talked to me for a moment, and then he headed over to Carolina Forest. Like I said, I just wanted to make sure that people knew about that.
I appreciate you sharing that. Great story. Great story. I love to hear that kind of stuff because we hear too much the other way. Great point. And thank you. Enjoy the mountains. Stay away from the bears. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you, sir. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you. Of course, Ian strikes me as a type, David, who likes to run with the bears. I think if he sees a family of bears, he'd like to go out and chase them or something.
Nah, that's just the persona he gives. He'll run like a squealing kid. But actually, he's got that little foot injury thing going on, so he probably ain't running much anywhere.
Yeah. How about we had Coach LaPrade on before you joined us, and like I mentioned to Ian, he said their game plan was to come out and run the football, but that's what they thought they could do well, and mentioned the running backs and the kind of night they had. I mean, one of the running backs averaged like almost 2 first downs a carry, like 18-plus yards a carry. You're averaging that, you're going to have a great night on the ground.
Well, and really that's what they've been all year. Zoltan Osborne got dinged up and they missed some games, and they just leaned on the running game. Their big offensive line, their offensive line's huge, and Davion Brown and Zion Reynolds are a 1-2 punch. I got the stats emailed to me after the game from their stat guy, and they're right under 400 yards rushing tonight. So it's probably like 380 or something. But they've been doing that for several weeks in a row now, where they're just if you don't stop their running game, it's going to be a long night. And, you know, they ran the ball against Somerville a couple of weeks ago. Now they're going to get Somerville again. Somerville's going to try to stop that run. But then again, you know, Dalton Osborne is still there. And if he's healthy, they haven't had to use him, but it's nice to know that if they got to use him, they can throw the football around the yard. So that shapes up to be a really good, you know, Somerville, Fort Dorchester, winner plays for the state title. That's going to be that is going to be one hell of an atmosphere next week.
Well, I was going to ask you. I mean, you're down there in Charleston. You've been there forever. Fort Dorchester was born out of Somerville. If I'm not mistaken, Coach LaPrade was on Coach McKissick's staff before going to Fort D. Obviously, these two programs, these two schools are intertwined in so many different ways. It's got to be the buzz of the city next week.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Well, you know, there is so much, you know, Ian Rafferty, who's the head coach at Somerville, was LaPrade's offensive coordinator for a dozen years when he went to Somerville, and he played at Somerville. And Coach LaPrade won numerous state titles as the wrestling coach at Somerville before he was the JV head coach. Then they had some 80-game winning streak or something. They didn't lose for like 10 years. And then he went over to Fort to be the head coach. So there is a lot of, you know, not to mention they've had some transfers back and forth in between the two programs. So it's going to be a festive atmosphere. I kind of wish it wasn't Thanksgiving weekend. You know, I wish it was another weekend because, you know, you may see some people leaving and not be there.
Hold that thought. We'll be back top of the hour.
In the morning, afternoon, and evening. Columbia's local talk radio experience. 107 The Point.
Make thepointradio.com.
The Point. The Point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Tasha Stevens. 3 days after former President Trump announced his 2024 presidential campaign, the Biden administration Justice Department appoints a special counsel to go after Trump. In what many are calling an obvious political move, Attorney General Merrick Garland appoints prosecutor Jack Smith as a special counsel to oversee a Democrat investigation into the events of January 6th and documents taken from the former president's home in an FBI raid. A judge turns away Jen Psaki's effort to halt a subpoena.
A judge has refused to quash a subpoena issued to former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki that seeks her deposition in a lawsuit filed by Missouri and Louisiana. It alleges that the Biden administration conspired to silence conservative voices on social media. Psaki filed a motion in federal court Friday in Alexandria seeking to quell the subpoena, saying that she had no relevant information to provide and that a deposition would place an undue burden on her. I'm Shelley Adler.
Another Uvalde, Texas police officer steps down.
The officer who was leading the city's police department during the hesitant law enforcement response to the elementary school shooting that killed 19 children and 2 teachers has left the force. Lieutenant Mariano Pargas has retired effective immediately after 18 years working for the city. He's the second police leader to leave law in the fallout since the May massacre, when hundreds of officers waited for more than an hour to confront the gunman at Robb Elementary School. Pargas was running the department during the shooting because the chief was out of town. John Scott reports.
Idaho police release a new timeline in the stabbing deaths of 4 students at a home near campus Sunday. 2 of the victims went to a party, got home around 1:45. The other 2 were at a bar until 1:30 and then stopped by a food truck on the way home. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The level of volatility in the markets right now, there are massive opportunities for investors who know what to look for and have the right tool to find it. I'm Grayson Rose, author of Trading for Dummies and senior market strategist at StockCharts.com, inviting you to take StockCharts.com for a test drive. As the most robust stock charting tool out there, you see what the analysts see. Spot the trends, set alerts to buy or sell, and discover new opportunities. There are so many undervalued companies in the last 3 months alone. You just need the right data to spot them. Claim your free 30-day trial now by going to StockCharts.com. I'm a firm believer that the best predictor of the future is the past, and StockCharts.com enables you to spot historical trends for any stock. Then, make informed decisions and invest with confidence. Start your free 30-day trial today, and you'll receive exclusive member-only features, educational resources, and timely market insights. Better information leads to better trading, and it starts at stockcharts.com.
There's a major recall at Ford.
Ford is recalling more than 550,000 F-150 vehicles in the U.S. and Canada. The problem has to do with the 2021-22 models. The front windshield wiper motor may stop functioning, which means the wipers won't work. And the automaker is concerned about reduced visibility in certain conditions that could increase the risk of an accident. Recall notification letters are expected to be mailed January 3rd of next year, and those affected will get a new front windshield wiper motor for free. I'm Shelley Adler.
Qatar reportedly banning beer sales at the 8 stadiums where the World Cup soccer matches will be played beginning Sunday. Qatar officials decided suddenly on Friday to ban beer sales in the stadiums. The World Cup kicks off Sunday. It's expected to draw more than 1 million visitors from 31 countries. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Tasha Stevens.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
When I served in Iraq and Afghanistan, my buddies and I would do anything for each other. That's important whether you're in a firefight or fighting to regain your life. When I came home injured, there are people I can count on, like DAV.
DAV, Disabled American Veterans, stands behind America's veterans to make their transition back home easier with free services and help getting the benefits they've earned. Help us fulfill the promise to our men and women who served. Go to DAV.org to learn more.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. The Point.
This is the Founders Federal High School Football Scoreboard on Sports Talk Media Network. Coming up, scores and reports from across the state and analysis from David Shelton. The Scoreboard is brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Now your host for the High School Scoreboard, Phil Cornbluth.
All right, welcome back, everybody. High School Football Scoreboard, Sports Talk Media Network. Great to have you with us, Phil Kornblut, here at the Dave & Buster Studios in Columbia. And David Shelton down in the Low Country after doing his work tonight. Let's go over the scores. If you're just joining us, we'll try and hit up some other coaches as well as we move through the second hour of the program tonight. But I want David to have a chance to opine on these games tonight. He hasn't had a chance to do that. So in the 5A Upper State, Dutch Fork beat Spartanburg 63-14, and Gaffney knocked off Burns 34-28. Your thoughts on those two games, David?
Kind of what I thought would happen. I thought it was going to be Dutch Fork Gaffney, a rematch of last year's state championship game. And as we talked about on Sports Talk, Spartanburg's only chance was to keep this game close, and it got away from them early. Just what Dutch Fork does. They opened it up on people, and then they cruised, and they did it again tonight. And then Gaffney opened it up on Burns pretty good early, and then Burns made a little run. But probably the two best teams in the upper state are going to be playing next week, so not a big surprise.
All right, let's go to the lower state again. Summerville shuts out Sumter 7-0, turning the tables on the Gamecocks, who defeated them earlier in the year. And Fort Dorchester over Carolina Forest 39-21. Either one of the results more surprising than the other to you in this case?
Maybe Summerville, but really I thought they had a great chance to win. They had some mistakes in the first game, but Sumter's offense is not against really good teams has not had a lot of success. You remember Oceanside shut them out 28-0. And Summerville's got a good defense. So I felt like Summerville had a shot. I didn't see it being 7-0, but I certainly thought they had a shot. And with Fort, I just felt like if they didn't play poorly, they were going to win this game tonight. I know Carolina Forest has been on a little run, but I thought Fort Dorchester, man for man, with that big offensive line, those running backs, I felt like they were going to win the game.
Is that their key? We talk about how good their quarterback is, but is their key to success putting the ball in the hands of those running backs more often than not?
Yeah, I mean, it has been this year. Both those guys are over 1,000 yards, so it's a 1-2 punch. Davion Brown is like 5'6", but about 190 pounds, and then Zion is a bigger back, maybe about a 200-pound back. But they mix and match, and that offensive line. I mean, there's some big guys up front, and they're doing a great job. And that's kind of been their niche this year is with Osborne being out and missing some games and really probably not being totally until recently. I think they found what works, and they're gonna try to run it on Summerville next week.
Okay, let's go to the 4A. Upper State, Greenville High beats Catawba Ridge 42-27. Two very offensive dominant teams, and Red Raiders outscoring Catawba Ridge 42-27. And Northwestern, likewise with Westside, and the Trojans have had a big offense all season long. Remember, they put, 80 points on somebody, I think it was earlier in the year, maybe 88. They beat Westside 59-21.
Yep, not surprised by either one. I felt like the way Greenville's playing down the stretch, their offense is rolling. They got some great skill people. I thought Catawba Ridge, had a shot, but I didn't think they could win a high scoring, a shootout, and they didn't. And Northwestern's just been, they've been good all year. They lost one game, and they've been really good. And that really looks up. Right now, I would say the over/under in points scored between Northwestern and Greenville is probably going to start at about 85 or 90. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored next week.
And let me see here. I wanted to see the bracket in 4A, and that's going to be, let's see, Greenville and Northwestern. So I don't even know which one's the higher seed. Who gets the home game?
I'd have to see the bracket because they were both region champions. So
Okay.
Whatever the bracket dictated.
Well, the predetermined home game would be Greenville. Where they have the H in the bracket for the predetermined host. So that would fall for Greenville. But is there not a rule that says of course they're both one seeds, right? So I guess it will fall to Greenville.
Yeah.
It will fall to Greenville. Okay.
Yeah, that's how it works.
So they'll play that at Serene Stadium, and man, they'll have old Serene Stadium packed to the gills, I'd imagine, for that.
But you would hope so. You would hope the Greenville fans will show up. I'm sure Northwestern will probably travel pretty well.
Yeah. All right, Lower State. AC Flora beat West Florence 50-19, and South Florence beat James Island 52-21. So Flora spoiled the all Florence championship game between West and South. So boo on them for that. Just kidding. But Flora has a chance to get back to the state championship after I was corrected by Chris Deering earlier because it was South Point that won it last year in 4A. I was thinking it was Flora, but Flora won it 2 years ago. So they got a chance to get back there if they take care of business next week. But what about that defense of Flora, the way they held West Florence to 19, and now they're going to see an even better offense against South Florence?
Yeah, that's going to be an offensive game next week. Again, we'll probably start the over/under at about 85 or 90. I know both defenses are pretty good, but both offenses are really good, really explosive. I mean, South Florence jumped all over James Island tonight, and James Island was a pretty good defensive team. West Florence is a pretty good defensive team, and AC Flora jumped all over them. So, that is going to be a heck of a matchup. And I think South goes to Flora, if I'm not mistaken. I think Florida's the home team. Yeah. So, that's going to be for, man. And I mean, when you look at it, really, when you look at 4A and look at the final four teams, man, oh my God, there's a lot of offense in those two games.
Yeah, ain't no question. Lenore Sellers against the AC Flora running game. Not that he's a one-man band or anything, but when you're the quarterback and you're high profile, against that AC Flora running game and the defense AC Flora can throw up there. I mean, how do you like that? Which way do you lean?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. South Florence has got a hell of a defense. I mean, I've seen them play. They run and they're big and they tackle. And both these teams have really good defenses. So, you kind of go by the adage, defense wins championships, offense sells tickets. Well, we'll see. There's going to be some offense, and I don't know who's got the edge, to be honest, because I think both teams get so much recognition for the points they score that people forget that they're pretty good on defense. And it's going to kind of come down to, which one can get the bigger break or which one has the ball last. I mean, hell, it might be 7-6, but I'm predicting in the 30s for both teams at a minimum. But we'll see.
All right.
mean, maybe one team has too much turkey. You never know.
That will mess you up. Too much turkey. Make you sleep. 3A playoffs.
I'm well aware of that.
Upper State. Okay. Powdersville beats Daniel. That's amazing that they did that. 36-35. Outscored them 36-35. What a ball game. And Clinton does what they do. Ran the football extremely well. They beat Chapman 49-27. Tell people about this Powdersville team. Again, it's a high school that's maybe, 10, 12 years old? And I can remember them coming along, maybe not even that old. I can remember them coming along with their football program, taking their lumps, and starting to emerge about a year or two ago as on the statewide scene as a really good football team.
Yeah, it's been a few years. They kind of put together some 8, 9, then 10, then 11, and then last year they had a great year and got beat. I can't remember who beat them in the playoffs. Maybe it was Clinton. I can't remember. But they got a really good running back, Thomas Williams, who's a Virginia Tech commit, and they run the football. But they got a really good quarterback, Eli Hudgens, who can make it hurt. I mean, he can run the ball, he can throw it. I mean, they're not a one-man show, and they knew they would have to score points tonight to beat Daniel, and scored one more than Daniel. But that game was in the 30s, and that's how that's what I kept saying all year, that nobody can get Daniel into a close game in the fourth quarter. But Powdersville was capable of doing that. And, that game with Clinton next week, let's do the over-under on how many rushing plays there'll be. 50 I'll start at, because there's going to be some running. But both teams can, as you heard Monty say, they can have a little bit of success throwing it if they have to, but neither of them wants to. They want to be, ball control, and that'll be that's a really good matchup scheme wise.
Have you heard anything about how that game played out? How Powdersville won it? I've been trying to find some details.
No, I was following it on Twitter for most of the game, and then got busy with doing my stuff, and I didn't even know Powdersville hung on to win until I heard you say it, because I just hadn't seen an update out, so I don't know how they did it.
Let's see if I can find a little something here. I'm looking at Todd Summers of Channel 7. Through 3 quarters, Daniel and Powdersville, they were tied at 28. Under 5 minutes to play. Blaine Simmons, a 1-yard touchdown run. Daniel leads for the first time, 35-28. So apparently, somewhere in the last 4 minutes or so, Powdersville scored and went for 2 and got it.
That's what it sounds like, yeah. But for that to be that way, they would have had to go for 2 there at the end.
Yeah, leave it to the TV guy not to put the winning touchdown in his Twitter. So we'll have to continue to look to see if we can find out exactly how they did it. But that kind of narrows it down. All right, Lower State. As I said earlier, Dillon doing Dillon things. 31-14 over Camden and Buford. How about Buford? That program lost, I think, in the state championship last year, right? Buford? I think they did.
In 4A.
Right.
South Point.
Correct. 31-21 over Gilbert tonight. So they got a chance to get one more win. They got a chance to get back to the championship, this time in 3A. What's your take on the Lower State?
Well, I think Dillon, that was a big win for them, going to Camden and kind of avenging last year's loss in the Lower State Finals. Now they'll get to host Buford, which is, you're from that area. You get Dillon at home in a really good game and really big game, and a lot of things can happen. So I think Dillon has a slight edge, but Buford's been really good. Their only loss was to Fort Dorchester way back in early September, and it was a pretty close game. So they've been pretty dominant throughout the season, and it beat a good Gilbert team tonight. Beat really tough one out last week against Crestwood. They won't be the favorite, but that's okay. They got to the state finals last year, and nobody thought they would get out of Lower State. So Bryce Librand will have them ready. Casey Fields is a really good player at Beaufort, running back that has really blossomed here in the last 6 to 8 weeks. And so it'll be a challenge for Beaufort. Dillon will be favored, but it'll be a good game.
Okay, here's some details on that Powdersville win from Joshua Miller with the Anderson Independent Mail, looking at his tweet. So Daniel up 35-28, Powdersville marching and near the Daniel 10-yard line, 1:28 to play. And first down Powdersville. Patriots with the ball on the Daniel 5 with 40 seconds left. 2 tries stopped short. Powdersville with the ball on the Daniel 1, third down, 14 seconds left. They're on the 1, David. And Eli Hudgens, the quarterback, fakes it, keeps it himself, and they score with 8.4 seconds left in the game. They do not go for the single extra point. They go for 2. By the way, looks like this was played at Powdersville, and the place is packed. Just packed. Look, I'm looking at video. Just packed. And then Powdersville lined up for a 2-point conversion. Daniel called a timeout. Powdersville came out. Again, 2-point conversion. Gave the ball to Thomas Williams, and he scored 36-35, and the place went nuts, as you might imagine.
Yeah, that's a lot of guts, boy. That man, that I like to think that I got a little bit of guts, but I don't know. I just love to hear stories. I mean, I would have hated it had they not made it, but you just gotta love the confidence that a coach has in his team when he says, "Hey, we're going to win the game right now. No overtime. We're going to win it," which is probably, when you're playing Daniel, who's won 3 years in a row. That's probably the safe play is like, we don't want to go to overtime against them because they've been there, done that. Let's try to win the game right now. And you got to love a coach's confidence in his kids.
I tell you, great job, Joshua Miller, on your coverage here, the video. I love the background, quick shot of the home fans, and they're just going berserk. Not storming the field or anything. They're staying in their place. Well done. But just going crazy. And then a shot of the Daniel players like walking off the field like they don't know what just hit them. They don't know what just hit them. Williams had to break 2 tackles. He broke 2 tackles at about the 1 to get into the end zone. That kid's a stud.
Yeah, he is. He's really good.
All right. Let's go to that's 3A. Let's go to the 2As. 2As, of course, Abbeville. What would a Upper State final be without Abbeville? Boring. 45-14 over Fairfield Central, and Saluda beat Strom Thurmond. The tip of the hat to Strom Thurmond. Great comeback season for them. Saluda wins at 28-0. So 2 teams that have kind of dominated 2A Upper State in recent years, right? Abbeville, Saluda meeting again.
Yeah, and you remember when Abbeville was going for their 5th straight title a couple years ago. They had a lead on Saluda, had a comfortable lead, and Saluda rallied and beat them at the end and went to the state finals and won the state championship. So the last time they met in a game like this, Saluda won, and you got to think Abbeville remembers that. Really, probably the 2 best teams in the Upper State. Some other teams had good seasons, but these were probably the 2 teams a lot of people were pointing to by about midseason that these were going to be the guys.
All right, Lower State, Andrew Jackson, 41, Barnwell, 14. I'm a little surprised. I don't know much about AJ. Heard a lot about Barnwell. A little surprised to me. You can talk about that in a moment. Oceanside Collegiate, big over Woodland, 59-18. I guess we're surprised about that margin of victory. What about those 2 games?
A little surprised that AJ handled Barnwell the way they did. I thought that game would be very close, but Barnwell made a couple of mistakes, and Andrew Jackson took advantage in the second half and really put up a couple of quick touchdowns to kind of open up the lead. They're a good team. They run the football. Got a really good running back, Trey Thompson, that's over 2,400 yards. But I think a lot of people thought Barnwell was going to be in the lower state finals. But Oceanside, boy, they're good. I mean, seeing them in person tonight, they are so good up front on the offensive and defensive line. Monroe Freeling is going both ways. Ben Britton is going both ways. Their little nose guard, I shouldn't say little, but it's about a 270-pound nose guard. Timmy Castaigne is a beast. And they're very athletic. Vaughn Blue returned tonight, the big-time running back. Charlotte commit had a big game in his first game in like 6 weeks. Had a big game for them. And, Woodland hit some long passes in the second half, but it was 36-0 before they scored. So it's definitely Oceanside has definitely been the best team down in this area. They're ranked number one for a reason. You remember they beat Sumter 28-0, and their only loss was a 1-point loss to South Florence. So, I mean, this is not a fluke Oceanside team. These guys are really good.
Looks like it. 59-18 over Woodland. Let's hit the break. We'll come back and talk about the 1As and also Skeeza, and then try to hit up a couple of more coaches in the next half hour. Man, this show has flown by. Can't believe we're down to almost our last half hour of this night. Get more from David. And you know what's coming up, David? You know what's coming up in our final minutes tonight. A tradition like none other. Shelton Says. It's back. And it's time. And we'll be back.
With Founders Federal Credit Union's collegiate debit cards. Get your University of South Carolina and Clemson University debit cards at any Founders office or by calling 1-800-845-1614. Plus, our debit cards are digital wallet ready, so you can pay however you please. Not a member? Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our 37 convenient locations to see if you qualify for membership. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
When your day calls for some winning, why not watch your favorite football team at Dave & Buster's? We've got massive HD TVs and hundreds of the hottest new games. Sip from our chef-crafted cocktail menu with exclusive drinks such as the Strawberry Watermelon Margarita or Dangerous Waters. Cheer on the team with Cantina Nachos or wings featuring one of our 12 wing flavors. When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can watch the games and play the games. Locations in Greenville, Columbia, and Myrtle Beach.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at scattle.org. Beef, it's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff Program.
I love fight songs. Don't you love fight songs, David? David, do you love fight songs?
I said yes.
Oh, we didn't hear you. I don't think we had your we didn't have your button punched, which is par for the course.
Exactly. Always punch my button before talking to you.
All right, we go to the 1As and Christ Church, big over Louisville. St. Joseph's, big over Wagner Sally. I guess no one should be surprised. Should be a good one between those two next week.
Yep, no surprise at all. Those are the two best teams pretty much all year in the upper state. So pretty much what it should be.
Yep. Johnsonville and Cross in the lower state. Johnsonville 14-0 over Lamar. Cross 34-16 over Estill. You've been big on Cross all year, telling us, really good club. And so they're going to match. And Johnsonville's had a great year. Are these the best two teams moving out of the lower state?
Yeah, I think so. I think Cross over the last 8 weeks or so has been just on point. That was a good team they beat tonight on the road. And then Johnsonville, they've been undefeated all year, been ranked number one. They don't always blow people out, but they win games. They've won several close games, and that could play to their advantage in the in the lower state final. And I'm pretty sure Cross goes to Johnsonville, but I'm not positive.
Yeah. All right. And Skeeza, championship weekend for Skeeza. And we've got 2 championship games in the books tonight. Hammond, no trouble with Lawrence Manning in 4A, 52-0. And Holly Hill Academy beats W.W. King in 8-man, 68-20. That's like how many, 11 or 12 championships for Holly Hill?
I don't know. It's 3 in a row. I don't know how many all time, but that's 3 in a row, and they end the season with a 37 or 38 game winning streak. They haven't lost since 2019. So,
and Hammond,
with no surprise, they beat King earlier in the year by about the same score. So they were clearly the best 8-man team in the state all year.
And we'll talk about Hammond coming up, but I mean, they just add another trophy to the trophy cabinet there over at Hammond. There are 3 championship games tomorrow. 3A, you got PD Academy and Florence Christian. They're playing at West Florence. And 2A, Calden Prep and Williamsburg Academy. And in 1A, Thomas Hayward plays Lee Academy. And those games will be at Charleston Southern. Back after the bottom of the hour break.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt, and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean, and there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
With SRN News, I'm Tasha Stevens. The White House is claiming ignorance. This after the Biden Department of Justice appoints a special counsel in federal investigations targeting former President Trump. Attorney General Merrick Garland appointed that special counsel to look into an FBI raid on the former president's home, a raid that resulted in the confiscation of documents. The appointment of the special counsel comes 3 days after Mr. Trump announced his intentions to run for president in 2024. Former President Trump's Twitter account remains deactivated. In a tweet, Elon Musk said Kathy Griffin, Jordan Peterson, and the Babylon Bee have all had their accounts on Twitter reinstated. It follows resignations of Twitter employees who refuse to work for Musk. The founder of failed blood testing startup Theranos sentenced to just over 11 years in prison. Elizabeth Holmes was found guilty of 4 counts of fraud last year. This is SRN News.
I've been talking about the people at Stone Interiors from the very beginning. They did the incredible granite counters, the beautiful granite tabletop in my home. Our kitchen is our focal point of our house. The countertops are just gorgeous. When I talk about a local company with tremendous ethics, great workmanship, someone who sees a project through from start to finish, I'm describing Stone Interiors. So have you thought about some granite or marble countertops? What about a backsplash in your kitchen? You want to retile that bathroom? Did you know you can actually go online to stoneinteriors.com, go through their visualizer software, and design your whole kitchen, your whole bathroom project? It is so cool. If that's not for you and you want to visit the showroom, they'd love to have you come out and visit at Stone Interiors, or they can even come to you when it's convenient. For more than 20 years, Stone Interiors has done this thing the right way. Call them 461-8950 to make an appointment or visit them at stoneinteriors.com. That's 461-8950 or stoneinteriors.com.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
Fran Halloran here. Now listen closely to what I'm about to say. I'm a business owner, and many of you listening right now, you're business owners as well. The first rule in owning a business is this: don't waste money. I see business owners waste their marketing dollars all the time. Not me. I figured out a long time ago, 8 years ago to be exact, that spending my marketing dollars at the point was not only intentional, but extremely profitable as well. If you're a small business owner, you owe it to yourself to sit down with Kevin Cohen and ask him to create a custom marketing plan for your business. He's looking for folks just like you who believe in local, to partner with him in 2022 and beyond. Trust me when I tell you, partnering with The Point works. You will see results and your marketing budget will no longer be wasted. Give Kev a call at 803-563-8558 and tell him the Money Coach sent you.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. Build a rocket and watch it soar. Clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, find a cure, that's something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Love the trombones in that particular fight song. David, were you much of a musician back in the day? Played in the high school band or anything?
No, I come from a family of musicians, and my talents are actually singing vocally.
Oh,
That's what
do you knock them out in karaoke contests or something?
I have won several in my life.
I've got to be there to hear and see that one day.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll send you a recording, and you're not going to think it. You're going to probably think it's like Garth Brooks or Travis Tritt or
Are you like Jim
Steve
Neighbors?
Perry.
Are you like Jim Neighbors? You sound like this when you talk, but when you sing, you sound like something else.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. People that have heard me sing say that I sing like I talk, but I just I have two talents.
Yeah.
Talking and singing.
Well, I've heard you talk. I've never heard you sing. Send me the tape.
I will.
Yeah.
And you're going to be shocked.
I want to hear it. Let's go to Lou Bazjack from the state newspaper. I don't think Lou sings. He could fool me here, but I don't think he sings. He's got that kind of rough, Midwestern, Cleveland, Pittsburgh kind of sound to him. Lou, how are you?
Yeah, you don't want to hear me singing, and I debate. I'm calling. I think Shelton's trying to pull one over on us.
Okay.
When I
get the tape, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
All right, you were at Hammond tonight as they were crowned kings again in Skeeza 4A.
Yes, and 52-0. Another that's 6 in a row for Hammond. First in 4A with Skeeza moving up to 4 classifications, but pretty much the same story, man. And just a heck of a team this Hammond did. They played a tough schedule early. They played Prince Avenue out of Georgia. They played Gaffney. They went toe-to-toe with Gaffney, losing late to them. And we know Gaffney's playing for upper state championship. So Coach Wheeler, who took over for Coach Kimmery, has now won 2 straight championships. A little different style. They run the ball a little bit more, but great defense. Pitching another shutout and just a great effort tonight. And I think they had four turnovers on defense. They returned an interception for a touchdown and rolled to another title.
Wow. So are they just getting better and better? Nobody in their class, whether it was 3A, 4A, nobody's gaining ground on them as you see it. I thought at one time, maybe it was, I'm trying to think, who wasn't there somebody?
Ben Lippin.
Was it Ben Lippin at one time kind of gaining ground on them?
Yeah, Ben Lippin when they got the year they had Bryce Thompson and Trad Beatty, who both went on to play Division I football. They got him in the playoffs, won the state. Trinity Collegiate, I thought a couple years ago, they had a tough year this year, but I thought 2 years ago they were able to give. They had some talent on that team, but just Hammond's rolling. I mean, you think there's going to be a lull one of these years, and think, hey, this guy's graduating, but they just reload, and they got some talented running backs. They got this tight end, Mike Tyler, who I think we're going to be hearing more about. He got hurt tonight, but he's a good-looking player, definitely a college prospect. They had a couple younger guys that could be college prospects on the team as well.
All right, so also in your neighborhood, AC Flora won big tonight. Dutch Fork won big tonight, so I know you'll be doing a lot on them moving forward to next week. What do you think about those two teams, what they did, what they might do next week?
Yeah, AC Flora, they're definitely not surprised. I mean, they've been rolling, and we kind of when the brackets came out, we kind of saw this matchup possibly coming. AC Flora, South Florence, number 1 versus number 2, and we get it. Sometimes you don't get it during the playoffs like this, but we do, and we know what Lenore Sellers has done at South Florence. Both teams rolled tonight, and I think it's going to be a heck of a matchup at Memorial Stadium in Columbia next week. Dutch Fork, they are rolling now after not a slow start. They played a grueling schedule. They had some issues on offense, but Jarvis Green's really explosive. They got better quarterback play from Appler, who had over 200 yards passing tonight. I thought Spartanburg would really give them some. They played earlier in the year, and Dutch Fork had to win on a last-second field goal, but it was all one-sided tonight. So now you get a rematch of the state championship game next week. Dutch Fork got to go to Gaffney, and that should be one heck of a ball game up in the reservation.
Absolutely. We look forward to it. You going to head up there, or you got other plans?
I don't know. I think I'll either be at Flora or Dutch Fork. We'll see. I mean, you can't go wrong either way for sure.
Yeah. All right. We'll look to hear from you. Thank you, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Thanks,
Happy
Phil.
Thanksgiving.
You too.
Thank you very much. Lou Bezjak from the state newspaper. Now let's welcome in to the high school scoreboard from Dillon High School, Coach Kelvin Roller, whose team tonight was a big winner as they advance in the 3A playoffs, 31-14 Lower State over the Camden Bulldogs. Coach, good evening. Welcome in. Great to have you with us. Congratulations.
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate it.
Tell us about the performance tonight, what you saw overall from your team, what kind of stood out to you?
Well, just the will that our guys, they beat us last year down there, and, our guys took that personal, and I'll be honest with you, we pretty much controlled the football game on both sides of the line of scrimmage, and, our running backs ran the ball extremely hard, and, when kids go out there and they leave it on the field for you, and, they play as hard as they can play, that's all you can ask of them.
Absolutely. Line of scrimmage would have been very interesting to watch tonight because you had your big guy, Josiah Thompson, and Camden had their big guy, Xavier McLeod. How, did you get a good look at that matchup? How often do those guys cross paths out there?
Well, both of those two players are extremely, talented players. Both are very, very good. And, Xavier Xavier is a man child out there, to be honest with you, and so is Josiah.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, and as good as Josiah is, we've got more than Josiah on our offensive line. We've got a veteran group up there, and most of those guys have been 3-year starters, and so you know we're blessed to have some really good linemen other than just Josiah Thompson. So and those guys played well tonight.
Yeah, no question. Your quarterback's a young guy, but seems to be playing extremely well. How do you like the way he's running things for you? And then your defense, too, the whole Camden to Fort team. Obviously, you got some great defensive play tonight.
We did, and you know, I thought Josiah played an excellent ball game at the quarterback spot. You know, didn't have a whole lot of stats to go with it, but he made some big plays and made some great decisions, and just not trying to do too much when things weren't there. But you know, he made some plays with his legs tonight to get us some key first downs and to keep drives alive. So proud of the way he's been playing for us at the quarterback position, especially as a freshman. And yes, our defense, you know, they played lights out tonight. You know, we gave up a couple big plays, but for the most part, you know, I think we frustrated their offense tonight. So proud of our guys.
David Shelton got a question for the coach.
Yeah, Kelvin, congratulations, by the way. But you know, I know you take one game at a time and you never get caught looking ahead. But do you know much about Buford? Have you been able to, you know, in film studies or whatever, have you been able to learn much about them? Do you know much about what you're going to be seeing next week?
No, we don't know anything about them. I haven't seen any film on Buford at all, so we'll get to work this week on that. And you know, but that's no different. You know, we pretty much, like you said, you take one game at a time. There's no reason to look ahead to Buford when you're playing a Camden at Camden. So you know, you got to put all your emphasis on that game. So, but I know Buford's coached well and played in the state championship last year, I want to say, didn't they, in the 4A classification?
Exactly.
Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And you know, so you know, they'll be ready. You know, they're coming down to Dillon, and glad we don't have to make that trip. But you know, that it'll be a good contest, I'm sure.
Your place will be packed out next week, no doubt about it.
We sure hope so. Sure hope so. Anytime you practicing on Thanksgiving and playing that weekend, you know, you're having a good year. So.
No question about it. Speaking of Josiah Thompson, your big offensive tackle, what's he got planned this weekend?
I don't know. Hopefully he'll just get him some rest and watch some film on Buford. And I don't know if he's making a game trip or anything tomorrow or whatever. I hadn't really talked with him about that, but you know, you know, so who knows?
Yeah. Well, you get some rest. The whole team gets some rest. Enjoy this victory tonight. Hey, to go into a Zemp and win a playoff game like that, that's not easy. We appreciate your time so much, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Phil, for all y'all do for high school football.
Thank you, Coach. Great talking to you. See you soon. Okay, Kelvin Roller from Dillon. Wildcats, Nasty Cats, David, whatever you want to call them, they got it going. When they get their defense going, awfully hard to beat because you know they're going to score.
Yeah, they're really good defensively. I mean, they have been for years since Billy Baker nicknamed them the Nasty Cats back in the '90s. that moniker kind of stuck. So that's one thing Billy can take credit for because he called them the Nasty Cats.
But you know what? I mean, they were Nasty Cats back in that era, would you say? I mean, that was a bunch of guys. They were, they were kind of, I want to choose my words carefully here. They were kind of Miami-like, would you say? The way they carried themselves on the field, the way they played defense, kind of intimidating. Maybe that's a good word. Would you say intimidating?
Yeah, intimidating is the word. They were back in the '90s. I remember that guy, Marcus
McClellan. McCollum.
Oh, what a man!
Yes.
Oh my God, he's so good. He was so good.
They were fast, and they had Stan Manning at running back. That was a loaded football team. Then they get to the Avery McCall era, where he wins 4 championships, first in the state to win 4 championships at quarterback. this young quarterback they've got now, Josiah Oxendine, he had the chance to do the same thing if they started out this year for him.
Yeah, he's a really talented kid. He's one to watch over the next couple of years.
Okay, thanks to Coach for being with us. Let's hit the break, and maybe we can hit up one more coach, and then we'll get to David Says. That's my favorite part of the high school football scoreboard every year because we dig deep into the brain of David Shelton, and he delivers the goods on what you should expect for next week in the playoffs. That is coming up after the break.
Show your team pride wherever you go with Founders Federal Credit Union's collegiate debit cards. Get your University of South Carolina and Clemson University debit cards at any Founders office or by calling 1-800-845-1614. Plus, our debit cards are digital wallet ready, so you can pay however you please. Not a member? Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our 37 convenient locations to see if you qualify for membership. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
When your day calls for some winning, why not watch your favorite football team at Dave & Buster's? We've got massive HD TVs and hundreds of the hottest new games. Sip from our chef-crafted cocktail menu with exclusive drinks such as the Strawberry Watermelon Margarita or Dangerous Waters. Cheer on the team with Cantina Nachos or wings featuring one of our 12 wing flavors. When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can watch the games and play the games. Locations in Greenville, Columbia, and Myrtle Beach.
Touchstone Energy cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
All right, our final minutes tonight here on the high school scoreboard. Let me go over the scores one final time. In 5A, Upper State, Dutch Fork 63, Spartanburg 14, Gaffney 34, Burns 28, Lower State, Somerville 7, Sumter nothing, Fort Dorchester 39, Carolina Forest 21. 4A Upper State, Greenville 42, Catawba Ridge 27, Northwestern 59, Westside 21. Lower State, AC Flora 50, West Florence 19, South Florence 52, James Island 21. Upper State 3A, Powdersville 36, Daniel 35, Clinton 49, Chapman 27. Lower State, Dillon 31, Camden 14, Beaufort 31, Gilbert 21. 2A Upper State, Abbeville 45, Fairfield Central 14, Saluda 28, Strom Thurmond nothing. Lower State, Andrew Jackson 41, Barnwell 14, Oceanside Collegiate 59, Woodland 18. 1A Upper State, Christ Church 47, Louisville 7, St. Joseph's 55, Wagner Sally 8. Lower State, Johnsonville 14, Lamar nothing, Cross 34, Estill 16. Skeeza 4A Championship, Hammond 52, Lawrence Manning nothing. Skeeza 8-man championship, Holly Hill Academy 68, WW King 20. Before we do, Shelton says, David, one team, one cause. What you got coming up this week?
Got nothing this week. but I just earlier this week, yesterday, I went to St. Andrews University in Laurinburg.
Nice.
And spoke to the men's and women's wrestling program as well as the volleyball program, and it was really good. It was spur of the moment. The coach called me out of the blue, said he saw something on Twitter, and I think they've had a few issues, and said, "Can you come?" I said, "Yeah, I'll come after Thanksgiving. Let's set a date." And he said, "Can you come this week?"
Ooh.
And I said, "Well, I will come I will come Thursday." And so I went and had a great time, and really felt like I had an impact on a couple of kids, and they were very appreciative, and it kind of just motivates me. That's why I do it. If one kid comes up to me and says I might have made a difference, that's enough for me. And I got to go through places like Clio and McCall on my way there that I had not been through since the 90s, and did not realize that it was as run down and as barren as it is. But it brought back some memories.
No question. The old Clio High School, well, they were the Midgets at one time, then they became the Cavaliers. And McCall, where Art Baker came from, Zach Willis came from McCall, the old McCall Red Devils, I think they were. And, those were great little towns back then. They are no more, though. They killed the high school. You kill the high school, you kill the town, right?
Pretty much. That's how it works.
Yep. Okay, David. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad that you're having an impact. That's fantastic. Folks can go to our website. We have a link to David's website, One Team, One Cause. You just click on that little digital ad we have on our website for One Team, One Cause. Take you right to David's site. Now, Upper State, Dutch Fork versus Gaffney, and Shelton says.
Well, these are tough ones, boy. I tell you what, I won't be able to go to Gaffney anytime soon, but I'm going to pick Dutch Fork. I think they will get revenge.
In a close one.
In a close one, absolutely.
Somerville, Fort Dorchester, Shelton says.
I think Somerville will play better than they did the first time they played a couple of weeks ago, but the way Fort's playing right now with that running game and their defense has been really good, I think it'll be kind of low scoring, be very physical, probably be some 15-yard penalties involved. But I'm gonna pick Fort Dorchester in a real close one.
All right. 4A Upper State, Greenville Northwestern, Shelton says.
I think Northwestern is just better defensively. I think they'll be able to make enough stops. So I'm gonna take the Trojans in a high scoring game.
Lower State, AC, Flora, and South Florence. Shelton says.
I don't know. Can I pass on this one?
No passing. There's no passing. There's a no passing lane.
Well, there's gonna be some passing in that game. But I you know what? I've been on South Florence since I saw them play in the first game of the year, and somehow or another, I just think they're going to find a way to win. I think Lenore Sellers is going to be the best player on the field, and usually that happens. And but that's a close one. I wouldn't be surprised if AC Flora won that, but I'm going to take South since you're making me take somebody.
Okay, that's what Shelton says is all about. 3A Upper State, Clinton, Powdersville, Shelton says.
Well, I've been listening to Monty Dutton all year about how good Clinton is. So, he's a veteran and he knows what he's talking about. I'm going to take Clinton to beat Powdersville.
Lower State, Dylan Beaufort, and Shelton says.
I think Beaufort can play in this game. I think, Casey Fields is a really good football player. I think this is going to be a hard road trip. Tough place to win. Dylan's been, ranked number 1 or 2 all year. I'm going to take Dylan. But again, won't be shocked if Beaufort wins this game. I just think this is a tough ask.
2A Upper State, Abbeville, Saluda, Shelton says.
Well, I think Abbeville's going to get a little revenge for what happened to them a couple years ago, and I think Abbeville will beat Saluda.
Lower State, Andrew Jackson, a.k.a. AJ, against Oceanside Collegiate.
I think a lot of people were looking for Barnwell and Oceanside, and AJ put a wrench in that. I think, being at home is going to help them. But, I saw firsthand tonight, Oceanside is really, really good, and I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win and play for the state title.
All right, we go to the 1A Upper State. It's Christ Church, it's St. Joseph's, and Shelton says.
I'm going to take Christ Church. They beat them earlier in the year, beat them pretty easily. I think it'll be closer, but I think Christ Church has proven to be probably the best team in the Upper State all season.
And Lower State, we've got Johnsonville versus Cross. Shelton says.
Well, like you said earlier, I've been on Cross all year. They got a big win tonight. Johnsonville's a really good team. I think Cross has got the size advantage up front. Their offensive and defensive lines. I'm going to take Cross in a low-scoring game.
All right, there you go. We are set for the Upper and Lower State Finals, the statewide semifinals, next Friday night, the day after Thanksgiving. We will be here with the high school scoreboard. Not a lot of games, but there'll be a lot of talking. I can promise you that from David Shelton. We'll have reporters. We'll get coaches on as well. Those coaches will be happy, the ones we ring up next Friday night, because they'll be playing for a state championship the next week. Going to be a lot of fun, David. Let's hope that we have some great games, some tight games, some down-to-the-wire games, and look forward to a great state championship weekend. Want to wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving, and we will talk to you next week, sir.
Sounds good, man. Same to y'all.
Thank you so much. David Shelton. We call him Best in Business here on Sports Talk. He is the star of the high school football scoreboard. I'm just along for the ride and to fill in the gaps. Want to thank J.P. Barry. Good to see you, J.P. Hadn't seen you in a few weeks. Get a haircut. It's good to see J.P. Barry again in person. We appreciate that. We thank the coaches we had on tonight. We thank the reporters who called in. We thank our affiliates across the state. We thank you, the high school football fan, for listening to us every week here on the high school football scoreboard. Only 2 more to go. We'll do it again next week. Have a great weekend. See ya. Weekdays from 7 to 9 on The Point. It's Kev and Brian in the morning.